Hello and welcome to something slightly new on the channel today. Rather than Football Manager virtual reality, we are going to be focusing on the real football world. I've been joined by guests who I will talk about and introduce in a moment, but we are planning to talk about football grounds. Now, the reason we're doing that is in England, both myself and my new temporary co-host Tom are attempting to do the 92. We're both nearly halfway and have been ground to a halt by the latest virus outbreak, unfortunately. So hopefully we can give you a little bit of light relief and we can take back some of the time we've gained from our Saturdays by talking about all the grounds we've been to so far and ranking them in certain areas. Full disclaimer, we're probably going to offend some people because your own ground, you're going to have good opinions of it. And we'll try and be fair when I get to Luton as well, and I'm sure Tom will when he gets to Arsenal and whatever. We'll try and be fair throughout. We know we're going to offend people if it's your own club, but we just want to give an honest opinion. We'll try and be as neutral as possible. And obviously get involved down in the comments, have your chat as well. Let us know your opinions on the ground if you've been there too. So for each of the 92 clubs, we've been to about 30, 35 together, we reckon so far. So we're going to talk about all of those. We're going to rank them in certain areas. So those areas are atmosphere, location, value for money and character, and we'll each give them an overall rating, and you can tell us which one of us is stupid and which one of us makes the most sense. And we're going to start in alphabetical order for the grounds that we've been to together. Joining me is Tom, who is a childhood friend. He's been trying to do the 92 with me and has had a few trips ruined over the next couple of weeks. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, we were just talking, weren't we, before we started recording, that we were due to have quite a good weekend for ground hopping. So, yeah, I should be at Stoke tonight watching England under-21s against Andorra.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I was planning to be in your front room this weekend so I could hop to Salford and Rotherham for a double header over the weekend, but not to be.
No.
So we are going to start in alphabetical order, and that means the first ground in the alphabet we've both been to is Accrington Stanley. So a very quick run through the stats. The Crown Ground hosts 5,450 people, capacity-wise. Its record attendance, 5,397 for their famous FA Cup tie against Derby in 2019. Most famous probably for John Coleman's post-match interview. They've also had a couple of league crowds close to that as well, but their record league attendance was chalked off due to an abandonment against Sunderland. The ground is the Crown Ground, often called the Wham Stadium for the last 3 years due to sponsorship reasons. And we went there in 2017 to watch Luton win 2-0. Now, I've not got the greatest memory of this because of weather reasons. But otherwise, the game was fantastic. So, Tom, you start me off. What are your memories of the day?
Yeah, so I would be lying if I said I've got a vivid memory of the day. I think I'm right in saying it was the first northern ground we ticked off since I moved to Leeds. So it's quite convenient. It was just a direct train Leeds to Accrington, so it's handy to get to. Bit of a walk from the train station. I should add that neither of us drive. We always get to games on public transport. So we'll be probably talking about that a fair bit in the podcast, the matchday experience for people that don't drive. It was a gloomy day, wasn't it? Pretty miserable, like kind of typical Lancashire weather, I guess you could say.
Understatement.
Yeah, and we were exposed in the away end on the terrace. So yeah, you're right. The weather did play a part, but we got the result we needed.
Absolutely. I mean, it was early on. Both teams were doing okay in the league. It took, I think, I've just checked back on the stats. It took Luton above Accrington into third place at the time. So both teams were starting quite well. Didn't look like it was going to be a promotion race that early. Many expected Accrington to fall away, but obviously Accrington ended up winning the league. Luton ended finish up runners up, and Luton did the double over them, winning a home game as well. I know they didn't that season. They lost. Sorry, they won the League One game. I'm getting the years mixed up because we played them twice. In terms of the day itself, as you mentioned, the transport was really easy from Leeds to get to Accrington. Or did we go from? We did go from Leeds, didn't we? Or did we go from Manchester?
No, direct
from Leeds. Yep. So a nice, easy travel there. The one downside on the way to the ground for me was, as you mentioned, the long walk. But it was quite a nice place actually, Accrington itself, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did like the architecture in the town centre. It's like some quite historic buildings. Again, like, there's typical northern like buildings you see in town centres. I've got time for that. Yeah, Victorian.
Couldn't agree more. In terms of location, that's the only thing I'll mark it down for a bit is the long walk, to be brutally honest. But other than that, I was quite happy.
Fair to say, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. If we get onto the ground itself, I mean, you've mentioned it already. We were exposed in the away end. We were in a terrace. The value for money was not good. It was £20 for the ticket, which is the same Luton were charging for their home games then. Give me a thought on that.
Yeah, for that level and like being stood on a terrace, and I've got nothing against that. I like being stood up at games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like paying £20 for that. So yeah, I think we both agree that they're gonna probably lose points.
Yeah, I can't give any other argument really. I mean, for us, we were quite happy because Luton won the game. It was a very good performance. But when you're getting soaked and there's driving wind going at you for 90 minutes, it's very hard to keep your spirits up for other reasons, it's fair to say. Moving on to character. Now, we quite often off camera and generally in podcasts and that talk about soulless bowls. You mention it even with your Arsenal, the Emirates. I've mentioned it particularly with MK Dons, which there's no love lost. This ground can't be falling foul of that because it's very unique, old school, old fashioned, opened in 1968. I know it's quite a nice character ground for me. I'll never rank it down for that, but what did you make of it?
Yeah, that's a good point. In your introduction, I just thought you said about offending people and how they'll defend their grounds. I won't defend the Emirates. No, I think it looks nice, but it's kind of like got that spaceship, futuristic,
Yeah.
soulless bowl. Yeah. So yeah, I like grounds that aren't like that, old school. And we didn't know the age, but you said it's 68. Is that right? Almost so just over 50 years old. So yeah, small ground, but 4 stands. Got something about it. Yeah.
We definitely won't rank any ground down that's got a little bit of unique old school touch. So that one had a stand going across one of the lengths of the pitch, but it was only covering about half of it. That's the sort of thing that is very old school, non-league, lower league football in England, and it's some of the things that make it unique and make the 92 worthwhile doing. So not going to rank that down at all.
Yeah, that's what that's the point of doing the 92, isn't it? You want different grounds. That's why, like I won't speak too much about Kenilworth Road, but when we do talk about Luton, it's you could call it a shithole, but it's special. There's nothing like it, and you don't. Yeah, so that's what it's all about. That's why we want to do it and see all these grounds around the country.
And those sort of grounds are always going to be the special ones. I mean, I know, as you mentioned with Luton, there's always people taking videos of the entrance to the away end, and the same at Accrington for us.
How many times have we seen that? Yeah, that video
and
every time a big team turns up at Kenilworth Road. Yeah.
But that shows the ground must have something, and the same for
worth
Accrington.
Talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And the same for Accrington, and it was old school, but it did have those unique features. It wasn't just a bowl, it wasn't just 4 standard stands, so we can't rank it down for that. It definitely had a bit of character. Now, I know that you have one particular memory from the day relating to half time, so go ahead and have a little chat about it.
Yeah, allow me to name drop, please. So yeah, for those that are aware, that follow football, James Justin is a young fullback signed for Leicester last summer from Luton.
Yeah.
His parents worked with my parents, and his dad used to tell me to do Arsenal a few times when we were younger. So I caught up with him at half time. He recognised me, which I was quite surprised about. And we had a talk about how James's career was doing at the time. And you told me he wasn't really in the team at that point, was he?
No, so he wasn't getting a start regularly at that point. Even then, I mean, probably just over 18 months before he went, there was talk about transfer rumours, moving on to Premier League or Championship clubs. In the end, it looked sensible that he waited because he got into the team, played for 18 months solidly, 2 promotions, and is now a Premier League and under-21 international. So it seems to have worked out nicely for him.
No, it seems... I mean, I'm not going to hype it up and say that he's a friend of mine. He's not by any stretch, but I'm proud that he's doing well, and like he seems to be a grounded guy. He didn't like rush off to get his big move. He waited, he bided his time, got a couple of promotions with his hometown club, and then when the moment was right, and he had a manager like Brendan Rodgers that he thought could develop his career in a club like Leicester that have obviously achieved so much recently, then he took his opportunity, and you can't begrudge him that, can you?
Absolutely, and I'm sure it's life-changing amounts of money. It's a life-changing career opportunity, and obviously the bigger clubs mean you get that chance to get international recognition.
But yeah, to see his dad, and that was kind of the first game I think of a few that I started spotting him around like random, the northern grounds, and it was good to see how dedicated his dad was following his career so closely, and yeah, good luck to both of them.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. So the time has come where we've got to rank these out of 10 each area. Again, apologies in advance if we offend anyone, but these things are going to happen along the way. So let's start with atmosphere. What do you reckon, Tom?
So the weather did play its part. I don't remember it being rocking, so I'll give that a 6.
Okay, I mean, you're being slightly more generous than me. And I guess, to be fair, it's always going to depend on the result and the type of game. So Accrington lost 2-0. Luton were comfortable and dominant throughout, so the home fans were never going to be as vociferous as if they were chasing a game they were winning
No.
comfortably. So I'm going to give it a 5, but I'm sure the game played a part in that. And I'm not going to rank it down because the home crowd obviously helped them to promotion as a smaller club in
Yeah,
League Two at the time.
definitely.
Onto location. So we've mentioned the good and bad of it so far, but what would you give it?
Again, the weather. So much in this country depends on the weather. If it was a nice sunny day walking through that town centre, I'd have no problems really. But yeah, again, walking in, I'll go for another 6.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm going to match you on this one because I think the ground itself, the location, obviously it was a longer walk. It wasn't great, but the architecture in the town centre itself and the travel getting there was quite easy. So I can't complain about all that. So I will go with you for a 6 on that one. Pretty decent across the board.
Mm.
Value for money. I think this is probably going to be our lowest one of the 4. What's your opinion?
Yeah, this deserves the harshest mark, I think. I'll give that 4, I believe. That's probably about right, yeah, 4.
Yeah, I'm gonna match you on that one. I can't give it any more. I mean, the food and that, from what I can remember and what I've seen since, seems to be decently priced in that. But the ticket itself is 20 quid for an uncovered terrace, and that was the same as teams were charging for seats in every other ground. So you can't give it any higher, can you?
No, maybe we even being generous with a 4, actually. But yeah.
We might revisit and rank it down later.
Hmm.
And then finally, character. This is probably where I'll go up again. What about yourself?
Yeah, so we did say it's not a soulless bowl.
No?
It's got 4 stands, it's 50 years old, but I don't remember it having any like amazing defining features either. So I'm not going to go over the top with it. So I'll give it a 7 for that.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm going to agree with you on 7, to be honest, because again, as you say, it hasn't got anything outstanding, I wouldn't say, but it's a good old school ground. It
No,
reminds me of, I guess, from following Luton in the National League for 4 or 5 years, it stood out a bit compared to some of those which were just atrocious. So
sure,
it's got
yeah.
it's got a few characteristics, and that little stand that covers half the length of the pitch. They're the sort of things I quite like to see in the lower league. So I can't rank it
Mm.
down. It's quite a nice ground. That's the fair thing to say out of it.
Yeah, but I don't think I took any photos of it on the day, so that suggests there wasn't anything that was like, oh wow, I need to like have this
No.
down as a memory.
But
So for that
I
reason,
guess, to be fair, we weren't content that we were doing the 92 at that point, where we started taking pictures for the sake of it to make sure that we'd covered each ground. So
no,
we probably would have back then.
no, you make a good point. Now we are documenting it more, but yeah, I think if I'd have seen something that I thought, oh, that's like I've never seen anything like that at a football ground. I need to get a picture of it. Then I would have done. But the fact I didn't suggests that yeah, it's nice, it's old, but it's not like it hasn't got the wow factor, should I say?
That's fair enough. I can't argue with much you've said in that episode, to be honest. So thank you to Tom for joining me for the first time, hopefully the first of many. Obviously, let us know down in the comments what your opinions are. If you've got anything different, obviously, if you're an Accrington fan, let us know any little niche bits that we may have missed from just one little trip to the ground on a wet and
Mm,
windy day, where we probably didn't explore as much as we would have on a sunny
no,
summer's afternoon. If you did enjoy the video and the episode, please do put a thumbs up on it. Subscribe, because we'll have plenty of these going forward. We've got about 30 odd to get through while there's a football lockdown. And obviously, we'll be back soon with another ground as we keep working our way through the alphabet. But thanks for watching. Thanks for Tom for joining me. And hopefully, we'll see you next time.
cheers.